There was a question about prediction. Huh?
Yes, elections. When do you think the elections will take place?
Oh, the date. Yes. Aye, this guy is hiding that thing. He's not talking. He's not budging. I don't know. He thinks he can buy himself some time. Look, let's to see that you are dealing with a crook. Look at 2019. It's 2019, right? 2019 election was announced during the state of the election. You know, the state of the nation. The election date was announced during the State of the Nation address in 2019. You know why he did that? Because he was still hot at the time. He knew, I can't postpone this. I must hit while the iron is still hot. He announced it because he knew all ratings were like the mayor. Now all ratings are like, Namba Mkondo. But no, let's buy ourselves some time. Maybe these guys will create a mistake or something, and then this thing becomes more expensive for us. Because after we launch a manifesto, you must immediately release a poster which has got election date. Because as you give people the theme, you must also give them the date so they internalize it. And then they make their plans and all of it. I'd say, maybe with the announcer today, we don't know. But the guy is refusing with the date. And we can only wait. Then if he wants to go beyond March, the Constitution allows him. It looks like he's got until August. Until then, there's nothing we can do. And if he takes this election to August, things will be worse in this country. My guy, why should we care about whether there will be retaliation from the West? We are engaged in a struggle against imperialism and colonialism. And we make no apology that we are not friends with the West. It doesn't mean we can't trade with them. We'll trade with them through our own terms. They will not come and impose themselves on us like they are doing with the ANC. We are not part of CODESA. We've never had a facilitation between the Boers and the owners of the means of production here in South Africa and the ANC that was facilitated by Britain and all of that. This democracy came because the Oppenheimers left the country to go and meet the ANC in exile and said to the ANC, we are going to tell the National Party to end apartheid, and you are going to come back and govern, and you govern business as usual. Nothing changes. The ANC said yes. We don't have such an agreement with the West, with America, with the Oppenheimers. We don't know the Oppenheimers. Now when I saw the Oppenheimers for the first time, was there at Prince Mangosuthu Buthelez's funeral. I was like, this guy is a big guy. Even the Oppenheimers get out of their house to come and bury him. And the way they were so in charge, they were not sitting down in a funeral. They were going up and down. You gotta get weight. So, Floyd Agirwa Batsiba, okay. The Oppenheimers themselves, the owners of South Africa. So we have no time for those people. We are going to reclaim our country. We are going to work with the Oppenheimers. We are going to work with Rupert through our own terms. He won't tell us what to do. He's a respected businessman. The Oppenheimers are respected business people. But it can't be business as usual. That's all we're saying. It can't be business as usual. Something has to give. We're not going to be controlled by Rupert here, who speaks to them like little kids. You must go and ask how Rupert speaks to your ministers. You can't try that with me. A white man. I don't care if you've got money or you don't have. I used to have a white mentor in Polokwane called Jimmy Kontompelitos or something. One day he spoke to me in a bad way in a meeting. I said, you must never try that. He thought I was joking. I stood up. I said, no. No white man speaks to me like that. You don't do that. Don't do it. I don't care whether he was my man. No white man speaks to me the way Rupert speaks to your ministers. Ask Mbalula. Mbalula utawubuja. He will tell you. Wala need Mbalula. Rupert ila mo address. Aile golf ngaro way yak ailwe. Where you going? Our address Rupert. If you don't return Praveen, I'm taking my things, I'm leaving. You must try that with the EFF. If you don't do this, I'm taking my things, I'm leaving. Don't have time for that. China, Russia, we're going to work with them on our own terms. The Chinese don't go around Africa stealing anything from Africans. Your corrupt leaders overcompensate in exchange for something personal. That's what happens. The Chinese don't steal anything. One, they are in business. When the more you give them, the better for them. Why must they say no? Your leaders are not negotiating in good faith. They are negotiating with their families in mind. That's why they overcompensate. So we have no such a relationship with China. We've got a socialist and developmental relationship with China, and we know that China will help us. Russia is not our friend ideologically. We are with Russia in its fight against Ukraine because we know it's a NATO fight. It's not a Ukraine fight. So that NATO can expand its territory and be closer to Russia and undermine Russia. For that, we'll be with Russia because we can't allow territorial expansion of imperialism and colonialism in whatever direction. But Putin is not left. The government of Russia is not left ideological. If anything, Putin will be more aligned with the US in terms of policy and ideology, except their fundamental differences on imperialism, where Russia feels that America wants to control it through expanding the military base of NATO, because the military base of NATO is an American military base. So we are with Russia in that context. Not that ideologically we are aligned. But with Vietnam, with Cuba, with China, it's a clear ideological alignment of the left forces. And that's where we belong. And we don't isolate anyone. So we are driven by development in this country. We want development. We want to rebuild the infrastructure of this country. We want the rail to work again. We want to remove the trucks on the road, and then we take them back to the railway lanes. Because our roads are not safe, they will be damaged, and the trucks on the road are not safe for the road users. We want to rebuild the water infrastructure of this country. We want to expropriate all buildings that are not used for any purpose, to convert them into social housing and give them to our people so that they can stay close to where they work. We are an organization in a mission to restore the teaching profession and pay teachers proper salaries so that we restore their dignity in society. We grew up teachers being respected. Today, teachers can't afford a subsidized house. A teacher who taught me driving Corolla, at that time, they are still driving it till to date because they can't afford a new car. What type of government are we which neglects such people who play an important role? Seated here, you might not have passed through the hands of a policeman. You might not have passed through the hands of a prison warder. But all of us, we passed through the hands of a teacher. And we are ungrateful for what those people have done for us. The nursing profession was beautiful. Even the ugliest nurse was beautiful because the profession was beautiful. Nicely paid. The nurses nicely dressed. The nurses' faces welcoming. Not these ones that we're seeing now, who speak to you like you are about to be beaten. Because their anger comes from the conditions they work in. And worse, in those conditions, they are not paid anything. The policeman who chase after dangerous criminals. Here is a criminal who stole 20 million cash. You go catch the criminal. He says to you, "I take 2 and leave." And then you remember that this could be between me and the poverty at home. They get tempted. We need to reward them for catching dangerous criminals. We need to reward them for killing cash in transit criminals. Those ones, they must not negotiate with them. Because those ones of cash in transit, they are dangerous criminals. They are the army. They are the army. Look at the kind of weapons they use. Police must drop them. And after dropping them, we must reward them. We must reward the police who drop cash in transit haste criminals. We must reward the police who arrest rapists and investigate that rape case successfully and prosecute it successfully. There must be a reward for that. Today, Ramaphosa, as he steals that slush funds of the intelligence, today, the informers in communities, informers, are no longer given money. There is a intelligence, crime intelligence slush funds that is given to informers. They are saying each informer can be given more than 500 rand. Imagine the informer that informed the police about that gangster in Thohoyandou, which they killed, how many, 20 or something in one house, who were planning to go and do cash in transit in Thohoyandou. And that time when they were killing those criminals at Thohoyandou, that was the period where cash in transit in Thohoyandou was a daily bread on the streets. They killed those criminals. That thing stopped because it was them who were committing it. Imagine a person who gave us that information and saved us a lot of money and life, given 500 rand. And then he's paid more than Nkumbuzo Nchabeni, who has got no role, nothing, except to be a lobbyist of a president. The EFF government will reward the police informers, depending on the size and the magnitude and the impact of the information they gave us. That's how we're going to defeat crime. We need to reward informers. We need to pay the police. We need to give police equipment. I said at the rally, I can't remember, that most of you, as you were traveling to this rally, you didn't see a single police van in a country that has got serious crime. From Hyde Park to here, And Hyde Park is suburbs. That's where the police must be, and that's where the rich are. I've not seen a single police van. What about Malamulele? If there's no van here, what about the villages that don't have exposure?